Hi, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing the things I have learnt from running my brand new business. And I'm going to run through things that I would also change and things that I would do the same going forwards. So the business is craft workshops. Initially I was going to aim it at adults, but then some holidays were quickly coming up and I thought actually it would be a shame to miss out on some holidays if I could provide a child's version of these workshops. And so I opted for sewing classes because that is what I know best. And the children have been learning how to make little felt cat bookmarks. It's aimed at complete beginners aged between 7 and 11. And I thought if this works, I can then roll it out for Easter holidays, Christmas holidays, half term, as well as summer holidays. Then once I know that this works, or even if it doesn't work, I can then focus back on the adults craft classes that can be done in the evenings and during the week as well. Overall, the classes have been a success. They've been a lot more popular than I had anticipated, which is absolutely wonderful. And it is definitely something that I'm going to roll out again for half term. So that is all very, very positive. But there are quite a few things that I would do differently, and things that I'm going to change ahead of half term for the next set of classes. And I'm going to jump right in with the first one, which is the important one, which is I am not charging enough for these classes. I'm currently charging £12 per child, and these classes are between 90 minutes to 2 hours long. I supply all of the materials. If I am hosting this at the studio, I've got to pay for the hire fee. And if I hold it at a parent's home, I don't obviously have that additional hire fee, but I do have a minimum number of children that I require to be at the party or the workshop for me to attend it and teach. It wasn't until somebody pointed out to me a couple of weeks ago that essentially these parents are getting childcare for £6 an hour. And then it dawned on me that I pay a lot more than that for my child to be in nursery. My nursery averages just over £10 an hour for my 2-year-old. And that kind of made me think, yeah, definitely not charging enough. I can also only do up to 8 children, mainly because the studio hire will only take 8 children, but also any more than that, it would be absolute chaos because children of this age need a lot of my attention. I am constantly rethreading people's needles, helping them with things. It is very much non-stop for the 2 hours, helping everyone. And if I had any more children, they would not get enough of my time. It wouldn't be fair because they've paid for it as well. So £12 for 2 hours, I am deciding is not enough. This was quite difficult for me to kind of get to grips with because I don't want to make these classes inaccessible because I was from a low income family. This would have been something that my parents just would not have been able to pay for me to do during the summer holidays. So I don't want to make it too inaccessible, but also it needs to be worth my time and energy and everything else, and it has to be a functioning, profitable business. The other way I have to look at it is I have bills to pay for a start, like everybody else. I'm a single parent, I need to be able to pay my bills. And if I'm making less money per hour doing these classes than what I would be doing my freelancing work, then it isn't worth doing. So it needs to be equal to my freelancing hourly rate or higher for me to do it. Otherwise, I'm kind of putting myself in a bad situation to do these classes. The private classes were very popular. I had 5 private classes and I've got 3 classes where I got to hire the space. I'm going to up the number of children needed for those as well because I have to travel specifically to those places. Those ones also always take a bit longer because the children are at home and they're with all their friends. There's a lot more chattering, there's less concentration, they're running all over the place. The classes go on for longer. So at the moment my minimum is 4 children. I'm going to up that to 5 or 6 for a private workshop. The second big thing I will be changing for this is I'm going to be setting up a payment system on my website so that parents can be alerted that there is a new class out. They can go onto the website, they can see the dates and the times, and they can physically book and pay for a slot for however many children they want to there and then and the payment is taken at that point. What I did not anticipate with this business was the sheer amount of admin I've had to do. I've had inbound inquiries, that's phone calls, WhatsApp messages, emails, people wanting more information on the classes, people wanting to book the classes. I've then sent out booking forms and then I've heard nothing back, or they've sent me back the booking form, but they haven't paid for the class, which it very clearly states in the booking form, payment is needed to secure your place. So it's then chasing people up for payment. Sometimes they do pay, sometimes they just completely ghost you. And I'm like, well, I've kind of penciled you in for these classes. I don't want to give your kids' places to other people if you might suddenly pay before the day. For example, tomorrow, Wednesday, I've got a class. It's meant to have 7 children in it. This is one where I have to pay the hire of the space. And now it looks like I've actually only got 4. I currently only have 4 paid for spaces. So by the time my hire fee comes out of that, I am not making much money. And this is a classic case here that I am definitely not making anywhere near what my hourly freelance rate is. And therefore, it is a bit of a wasted exercise. But I don't want to cancel on the children who has been booked and paid for already. So if I add in the sheer volume of admin I've done, with some leads going absolutely nowhere and no spaces being booked, I then also have to prep all the materials. I have to cut out all of the felt and everything else beforehand. All those hours added into the actual teaching hours and then the travelling hours as well. I have to balance all of that out in the price, which goes back to my first point of why my prices will be rising for these classes. Now, these classes over summer holidays were very much going to be a test. They were always going to be a test. And I knew that beforehand. I didn't realise they were going to be this popular either. So overall, it's been really, really good and really, really positive. These 2 big ones, the price and the admin rate, are the things that I want to fix going forwards, just to make the whole idea and the business profitable and worthwhile doing. Overall, the test has gone so much better than I had expected. So that is fantastic. I'm not too upset about things like the fact that tomorrow's class only has 4 children and this, that and the other, because this whole phase was the testing phase and I've learned a lot from it, ready for the next classes that I will be booking. Number 3 is marketing. Now, I am not a massive user of Instagram when it comes to posting my own content. I'm pretty bad at it, actually, especially for my businesses, and it's something I need to get better at. However, I found the marketing side for these businesses to be slightly different. And because it's a local business aimed at local people, I posted little posts on the local Facebook group, which did get a couple of leads in. But the big one was I sent a press release to our local newspaper, and they did a Facebook post on it, and they did an article in the local newspaper. I didn't realise an article had gone out in the local newspaper until someone at my last class mentioned it. That's where they saw it. And actually, overall, majority of the leads that I got all came from that newspaper article, which was not what I had assumed to begin with. I thought I was going to have to do a lot more personal posting on both my own Instagram feed and also my business Instagram feed and things like that, which I didn't do in the end. Going forwards, I will do more posting on both areas, but local marketing efforts were hands down the best at getting the most leads in overall. So number 3 is definitely to send out a press release each time a new class is available, and then hopefully get bookings that way. Number 4 was the additional prep for the classes. Before my very first class, I made sure I cut out all of the little felt shapes ready for it. I had all of my different threads, I had the needles, the scissors, I had all of that ready. But there were little things within that first class that I realised were more difficult or more time consuming than I had anticipated. So now I thread all the needles before all the kids get there. I put all of the felt shapes together in little packs. So when they get there, they just pick their colour and it's got everything with it. It's got the ears, it's got the little tummy, it's got the needle, all ready so they can just grab it, take a seat and we can get going. Number 6 is to advertise earlier. I completely missed the boat for for the beginning of summer for the private schools. I don't have any children in private schools. My toddler's in nursery. I haven't got any contacts through private schools either. So I wasn't aware or realised that their summer holidays had already started before I'd even advertised on here. It's only through my freelance work where their children go to private schools. They were like, oh, I can pop it on the WhatsApp group. They're already on summer holidays. So I kind of missed the boat there for that. So going forward for the other holidays, I'm going to find out when their schools break up for their holidays, and then also for state schools have that as a separate date as well. So I can do 2 lots of kind of launching so that it's available to everybody. I don't miss that first bit, because I had several weeks where I could have actually booked in classes but didn't, because I was waiting for the state schools to go on some holidays. And finally, number 7, the thing for me to learn is that quiet children does not equal unhappy children or children that have not enjoyed themselves, because I've had feedback from all of the parents I've done private classes from that all of the kids loved it. They really enjoyed it. They want to know when the next classes are going to be available. And the same with the public shared classes that I've done at the studio. At the end of the classes, all of the kids have been so happy. They've all been really thankful. The parents have loved the classes. The feedback I have gotten has been really, really positive, which is another wonderful thing. During the classes, sometimes, especially the shared classes where the children don't all know each other, it's often booked in pairs. Those children I find are the quietest because they don't know each other, and so they're not all nattering across the table, they're just kind of concentrating. And it did make me concerned that they weren't enjoying themselves, but actually they all had finished pieces. The pieces were fantastic, and they all said they had a wonderful, wonderful time and they really enjoyed it. So I have to remind myself to be a little bit more positive sometimes, and that quiet children does not equal unhappy children as well. 7 things I have learned from my business so far, because it's only been running for the last 4 weeks. I'm not adding any more classes to the summer holidays. I've got enough under my belt for the rest of the summer. And I'm going to start working on the half-term projects, which are going to be Halloween-based items, whether that's sewing or a different craft, I'm not sure yet. People do seem to really like the sewing aspect. I've also been asked about sewing classes for older children and also machine sewing classes as well. So I'm going to have a look at those and see what I can offer during the half-term state. But next week, I am going to be running through all of the numbers. So I'm going to run through the revenue the business has made, all of the costs, and then what the profit is at the end of the day once all that's taken out. And I think that's when we'll see why the prices need to be increased, because obviously there are a lot of costs that come out of these things as well. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please put down in the comments if you've got anything useful for anyone else starting a business, or if you find anything particularly useful from this video, and I will see you soon.